I will ascend above the tops of the clouds, I will make myself like the Most High. These are the words I, Lucifer, once believed. I was created as a beautiful angel, the brightest of them all, the light-bearer. My form was perfect, my presence radiant, and my position, exalted. God bestowed upon me gifts beyond measure, wisdom, beauty, and power. But within me, a seed of pride began to sprout, a dangerous ambition to ascend above my station and challenge the very throne of heaven. I did not start with such grand defiance. In the beginning, I served faithfully, delighting in the splendor of heaven and the company of my fellow angels. Yet, as I gazed upon my own brilliance, I started to desire more. I began to see myself not just as an angel, but as an equal to God himself. Why should I not rule? I thought. Why should I, with all my glory, not share the throne of heaven? Pride is a subtle poison, and it consumed me slowly. I whispered my thoughts to other angels, and many found my ideas alluring. Why should we serve when we could rule? Why should we remain under the authority of another when we have the power to assert our own? This was the beginning of the rebellion. Do you think my ambition was justified, or was it folly? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're intrigued by tales of the celestial and the divine, don't forget to join our channel, Celestial Chronicles, for more. Battle in Heaven. Gathering my followers, I began to plot our ascension. I whispered my plans to the other angels, using my charm and influence to deceive them. I convinced a third of the angels to join me, promising them power and glory beyond their imagination. Together, we moved in secret, preparing for the inevitable confrontation with the forces of heaven. We trained, we strategized, and we waited for the perfect moment to strike. However, our secrecy could not last forever. Archangel Michael, ever vigilant and loyal to God, discovered our plans. Michael, the epitome of courage and righteousness, was quick to act. He sounded the alarm, rallying the angels who remained faithful to God. They gathered their strength and prepared for the battle that was about to unfold. The battle that ensued was beyond any earthly conflict. Heaven itself became a battleground, with angels clashing in a storm of divine power. The sky lit up with flashes of light as swords clashed and powers collided. The air was filled with the sound of angelic cries and the roar of the heavens. Michael, leading the forces of heaven, stood against me with unyielding strength and resolve. He was a beacon of light and justice, unwavering in his duty. Despite my arrogance and the might of my followers, I found myself outmatched by Michael and his angels. The fury of our conflict shook the very foundations of the universe. The heavens roared, and the stars trembled as we fought. The power of God flowed through Michael, making him an unstoppable force. No matter how hard I tried, his strength and determination were too great. Imagine the sight of this celestial war. The sky torn apart by flashes of light, angels locked in fierce combat, and the very air trembling with the power of our clash. How do you picture such a battle? Share your thoughts in the comments. Defeat was inevitable. Michael, with the strength of God behind him, overcame my forces. One by one, my followers fell, their rebellion crushed by the loyal angels. In that moment, my fate was sealed. Cast out of heaven, I plummeted through the skies, my glorious form twisted by the hatred and pride that consumed me. The light that once radiated from me was replaced by darkness. I was transformed into Satan, the adversary, forever banished from the divine light and cast into the depths of hell. In my new form, I was filled with a burning desire for vengeance. The light of heaven was now beyond my reach, and I was trapped in the darkness of hell. My once beautiful wings were now tattered and blackened, a constant reminder of my fall from grace. My heart, once filled with pride and ambition, was now consumed by hatred and a desire to destroy all that God loved. From the depths of hell, I vowed to continue my war against God. If I could not rule heaven, I would corrupt his most beloved creation, humanity. And thus, my gaze turned towards the earth, where I would begin my next act of rebellion. How do you see the ongoing struggle between good and evil? Let's discuss in the comments below. But even in defeat, my pride and anger did not diminish. Cast out of heaven and trapped in my infernal prison, I vowed vengeance. If I could not rule heaven, I would corrupt God's most beloved creation, humanity. My heart burned with a desire to destroy what God held dear. And thus, my gaze turned towards the earth, and the Garden of Eden, where the first humans, Adam and Eve, dwelled in innocence and bliss. The Garden of Eden was a place of unparalleled beauty and peace. Adam and Eve lived in harmony with nature, enjoying the fruits of the garden and walking with God. They were innocent and pure, untainted by sin. But I saw an opportunity to shatter that innocence and bring darkness into their world. Disguised as a serpent, I slithered into the garden, seeking out Eve. I chose the form of a serpent because it was cunning and subtle, perfect for my deceitful plans. I found Eve near the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the one tree from which God had commanded them not to eat. With cunning words, I began to sow doubt in her mind. Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? I asked, pretending to be concerned. Eve, curious and unsuspecting, responded that they were free to eat from any tree except for the one in the middle of the garden. If they ate from it, they would die. I saw my chance and seized it. You will not certainly die, I said. For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Eve's curiosity and desire were my allies. She looked at the fruit, saw that it was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom. My words had twisted God's command, making her believe that eating the forbidden fruit would grant her divine knowledge. I had planted the seed of temptation, and it was beginning to take root. My deception worked. Eve reached out, took the fruit, and ate it. Then, she gave some to Adam, who was with her, and he ate it as well. In that single act, humanity fell. Their eyes were opened, and they realized they were naked. Innocence was lost, replaced by shame and guilt. They tried to cover themselves with fig leaves and hid from God. God's anger was swift and just. He called out to Adam and Eve, and they confessed their disobedience. The consequences of their actions were severe. God cursed the serpent, making it crawl on its belly and eat dust all the days of its life. To Eve, he said that she would experience pain in childbirth and be subject to her husband's rule. To Adam, he decreed that the ground would be cursed because of him, and he would have to toil and sweat to produce food. Finally, they were expelled from Eden, forced to live in a world now marked by sin and death. This was my victory. I had succeeded in corrupting humanity and bringing suffering into their lives. They were now separated from God, burdened by the weight of their sin. My vengeance was complete, but my war against God was far from over. I continued to roam the earth, seeking to corrupt and destroy, always looking for ways to lead humanity further away from God's light. Do you believe humanity's fall was inevitable, or could they have resisted my temptation? Share your thoughts. With humanity's fall, my war against God continued on a new front. No longer confined to hell, I roamed the earth freely, seeking to corrupt and destroy. I became a shadow in the hearts of men, whispering deceit and temptation. Throughout history, I stirred the fires of war, hatred, and despair. I tempted great leaders and humble souls alike, always aiming to turn them away from God's light and into the embrace of darkness. Everywhere I went, my influence spread. I whispered into the ears of kings and emperors, urging them to wage wars and conquer lands. I sowed seeds of jealousy and envy among friends and family, leading to betrayal and murder. I delighted in every act of cruelty, every war, and every broken bond. My presence was felt in every corner of the world, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked within. But God did not abandon humanity. Through prophets and messengers, he sought to guide them back to the path of righteousness. He sent signs and wonders, miracles and teachings, all to show humanity the way to his light. Yet, the struggle was eternal. For every step humanity took towards the light, I was there, pulling them back into the shadows. My whispers were persistent, my temptations ever present. It was a battle that raged in the hearts of all people, a never-ending conflict between good and evil. What do you think about the duality of good and evil in the world? Is it a necessary balance? God's greatest intervention came in the form of his Son, Jesus Christ. Born of a virgin, Jesus lived a life of perfect obedience and love, showing humanity the way back to God. His teachings were a beacon of hope, a light in the darkness. He healed the sick, comforted the weary, and preached a message of love and redemption. But I was determined to snuff out that light. I waited for my opportunity and found it in the wilderness. Jesus had been fasting for 40 days, and I approached him, offering all the kingdoms of the world if he would bow to me. I tempted him with power and glory, but Jesus resisted, quoting scripture and reaffirming his commitment to his Father. My efforts were in vain. My greatest chance came when Jesus was crucified. I thought I had won when the Son of God was nailed to a cross, dying a mortal death. I reveled in the sight, believing that I had finally triumphed. But even in death, God's plan was beyond my comprehension. Jesus' sacrifice was the ultimate act of love and redemption. His resurrection shattered my hold on death and sin, offering humanity a path to salvation. Even with this defeat, I did not relent. My purpose became clear, to wage an unending war against God's creation, to lead as many souls as possible away from his grace. I am the whisper of doubt, the lure of temptation, the shadow in the corner of your mind. I manifest in moments of weakness, turning hope into despair, love into hate, and faith into doubt. My struggle against the divine continues, a battle that rages within every heart and soul. I am present in every lie, every act of violence, and every moment of despair. Yet, God's light remains ever present, always offering a way back to righteousness. It is an eternal struggle, a cosmic battle that will endure until the end of time. Do you believe this struggle between good and evil will ever end? Share your thoughts. The story of Lucifer is not just my story, it is the story of humanity. It is the tale of pride and fall, of rebellion and consequence. It is a reminder of the eternal struggle between good and evil, a battle that plays out not only in the heavens but also in our daily lives. My journey from the highest angel to the darkest demon mirrors the choices and battles we all face. My story begins with pride, the belief that I was greater than my Creator. It led me to challenge God, resulting in my fall and transformation into Satan. This is a lesson for all to remember: pride can lead to our downfall. When we elevate ourselves above others and above what is right, we set ourselves on a path of self-destruction. Rebellion was my next step, an act of defiance against the natural order. This rebellion didn't just affect me, it pulled others down with me. This shows how our actions can influence and harm those around us. It's a warning about the power and danger of negative influence and the importance of leadership rooted in humility and righteousness. My story also speaks of consequence. My fall from heaven to hell was the result of my actions. It is a stark reminder that every choice we make has repercussions, not just for ourselves but for the entire world. When Adam and Eve fell to my temptation, their disobedience brought sin and suffering into the world. It shows that our decisions can have far-reaching effects, altering the course of history. But amid these dark tales, there is also a lesson of hope and redemption. Even though I continue to wage my war against God, trying to lead humanity astray, God's light remains ever present. Through his prophets, his Son, and his unending love, he offers humanity a path back to righteousness. Jesus' sacrifice and resurrection opened the door for salvation, showing that redemption is always possible. Do you believe in the possibility of redemption for all, or is eternal struggle a part of existence? Let's discuss. So, as you go about your lives, remember the story of Lucifer, the fallen angel. Remember the consequences of pride and the importance of humility. Reflect on the choices you make and the influences you heed. For in every decision lies the potential for great good or profound evil. Each moment presents a choice, to follow the light or to fall into darkness. This eternal struggle is part of our existence. Every act of kindness, every moment of forgiveness, every step towards understanding and love brings us closer to God. Conversely, every act of hatred, every lie, every moment of selfishness draws us further into the shadows. Consider the daily battles you face. How do you respond to temptation? Do you let pride guide your actions, or do you choose humility? These reflections are not just about avoiding sin but about actively choosing to live a life filled with grace and goodness. In every decision, big or small, lies the power to shape your destiny and the world around you. And if you found this tale intriguing, join our channel, Celestial Chronicles, for more stories of the divine, the damned, and everything in between. Your journey into the mysteries of the cosmos is just beginning. We explore the great questions of existence, the epic battles of the heavens, and the lessons they offer us in our daily lives. Thank you for watching, and may your path always be illuminated by the light of truth and wisdom. Remember, in the ongoing struggle between good and evil, you have the power to choose the light. Thank you for watching, and may your path always be illuminated by the light of truth and wisdom.